What if superheroes actually walked among us, flying through city skylines, bending metal with a flick of their fingers, or even reading our minds? Imagine waking up to the news. Someone's just lifted an entire building off its foundations to save a group of trapped people. It sounds amazing, right? But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because having superheroes isn't just about flashy costumes or epic battles. It's about a world where power becomes complicated. So, what if we had these extraordinary beings among us? From the streets of New York to small towns, would we be ready for this world? Governments would scramble to create new laws, scientists would work around the clock to understand these powers, and regular folks like you and me, we'd probably just be trying to figure out if it's safe to take the subway. In this video, we're diving into what life would really look like if superheroes stepped off the comic book pages and into our reality. First off, let's talk about how superheroes might impact day-to-day life. Imagine you're walking down the street and suddenly, bam, a battle breaks out overhead between a super strong hero and a villain with, let's say, lightning powers. Would street vendors be able to sell insurance for unexpected lightning strikes? And just think about public transportation. Would bus schedules even matter when people could fly, teleport, or maybe even run faster than light? You'd be late for work and your boss wouldn't believe you because, oh, traffic was bad? Yeah, right, try. A superhero battle delayed me. Then there's the whole question of jobs and careers. Imagine if you went to a regular 9-to-5, but your coworker was Cypher, the human lightning rod, who could finish an entire week's worth of paperwork in a single second. Talk about performance anxiety. Who's going to want to sit in an office meeting when you could watch a superhero training camp where they're learning to control their powers, or even going on live-streamed missions? It's like sports, reality TV, and science fiction all wrapped up in one. It's safe to say that careers as we know them might become a little less glamorous. Suddenly, being a lawyer or accountant might seem a little dull compared to chief investigator of superhuman incidents. Now, let's get into some serious stuff, like what happens when superpowers mix with politics. You'd better believe governments around the world would have some very strong feelings about a person who can topple mountains or manipulate people's minds. What if the president had a super advisor who could predict the future or sway decisions? Would countries start to compete, trying to create or recruit the best heroes for their own interests? Superheroes might not be just about saving people. They'd be political power players, too. Imagine the debates. Is he really saving us, or is he just showing off because he's sponsored by some corporation? With all these powerful people around, how would we stay safe? And who would decide what's right or wrong? Sure, there'd be heroes who genuinely want to protect us, but there'd also be those who might think their way is the only way. After all, with super strength or telepathy, it might be pretty tempting to say, why not just fix things my way? We'd need an entire new branch of law enforcement, maybe even a United Nations task force just for superhuman affairs. And with every rule they created, you'd probably see a superhero loophole pop up. Could you imagine the paperwork? Of course, with superheroes in the real world, villains would be right there with them. That's the thing. Superpowers don't just go one way. If there's someone who can save, there's also someone who can destroy. So while you might have a hero rescuing kittens from trees, you'd also have villains who decide to turn skyscrapers into their personal jungle gyms. Would buildings need anti-villain defenses? Would your home insurance cover accidental damage by lasers? And let's talk about society's obsession with fame. In a world where superheroes are real, they'd be treated like ultimate celebrities. Imagine fan clubs dedicated to Team Omega or the Infernos. The debates in coffee shops about who's stronger, and the conspiracy theories that would spread about their secret lives. Would heroes have to go on talk shows to explain themselves every time they accidentally blew up a city block? They'd probably need PR teams, publicists, and maybe even their own brand of merchandise. Capes? Anyone? But here's the twist. Would we even trust them? Sure, it's easy to cheer for a hero on screen, but in real life, when you don't know if someone's mind reading or turning invisible just to spy on you, trust would be a whole different game. Imagine the paranoia. Security companies would be selling anti-hero measures, and the news would probably run daily segments on identifying heroes in disguise. Privacy concerns would be through the roof, literally, if someone's flying overhead. Yet, there's one last thing to consider. Would superheroes even want to help us? What if they thought they were above us, beyond our petty human concerns? Some might genuinely want to protect, but others could feel like humanity's issues are too small, too insignificant. What if they decided they had their own agendas, their own goals? Would we be left hoping they didn't turn on us one day? At the end of the day, superheroes in our world wouldn't just mean saving the day. It would mean a complete change in how we live, how we work, and how we see each other. It'd be thrilling, chaotic, and maybe a little terrifying. But hey, if you're curious about what would happen next, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join us for more mind-bending what-if scenarios every week.